8, 2025, as security agencies step up measures to ensure a peaceful poll. Inspector General of Police Kayode Igbetoku made the announcement during a meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security held on Tuesday at the Independent National Electoral Commission's headquarters. The meeting, chaired by INEC Chairman Professor Joash Amupita and co-chaired by National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, brought together senior security, intelligence and law enforcement officials to finalize strategies for an incident-free election. So the questions that would naturally trail this is if that state has up to that number of police officers and if there will be need for support from other states. Also, the larger conversation, what that means for national security. My guest is Mr. Olalekan, who is a journalist and public affairs analyst, and of course, he joins me virtually. Thank you, Mr. Ige, for making the time.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm amazing. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine.
Okay, so the deployment of 45,000 police officers, what would that represent, that kind of deployment for this particular exercise, for the security of possibly the state involved and neighboring states?
Well, I think it has now become, a normal tradition in Nigeria when off-cycle elections are taking place. You find the police trying to mobilize policemen from neighboring states to beef up what is existing on the ground. And that's exactly what is being done this time around. Anambra is an off-cycle election. So to me, it's like a normal thing for the police now to deploy policemen, especially from neighboring states, maybe from Imo, or maybe from Rivers, or from Enugu, or even from Kogi, depending on the strategy the police has adopted for this governorship election.
Okay, now we are not meeting our quota for the ratio of policemen to citizens in Nigeria, even if we have all policemen working. There have been recommendations from different experts stating that we are heavily under-policed. So, if for an exercise such as an election, which is important, by the way, you have this kind of deployment. And I'm also thinking, because we also have the VIP problem where the Inspector General countless times have said that all officers attached to VIPs, would be withdrawn, but we never see that happen. So if very close to 50,000 officers would need to be in Anambra at that time for that exercise, the under-policed parts of the country, because I know as well as you do that those officers will not all be from Anambra. Do we resort to self-help? Do we look at the NSCDC, other agencies? What if I need the police around that time, thanks to the shortage? What are my options?
Well, I'm sure you know that police will have looked at the issue of deployment critically. Remember, in security detailing, let me use that word for absence of the appropriate word. In security detailing, you know the states that are prone to crime. You know the states that are less prone to crime. You know the states where you have a higher crime rate, and you know the states where crime rate is low. So in deploying police officers for this kind of exercise, you try to strike a balance. You try to look at maybe deploying policemen maybe from states that have low crime rates, so you are able to predict what can happen at any point in time, which is why in deploying this number of policemen, you look at the states, maybe neighboring, maybe states that are not too far off, so that you can just mop up 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, maybe from 5, 6, 7 states to now add to what is already available in Anambra. So I'm sure the police will have done what I would call due diligence. Look at where you can easily pull people and it won't be too noticeable, in their absence. So I'm sure police will have done this due diligence before moving people to Anambra for the governorship election.
Normally, should elections require this level of security?
Well, this is a tough question to ask. Tough question to ask in the sense that even in situations where we have had reasonably sufficient number of security, trying to ensure smooth conduct of elections, you've had situations where we've had security breaches. maybe people threatening other people from coming out to vote, or people run away with ballot papers and all the rest. So just imagine for a second, if we had no police at all, what will happen? So it sort of justifies, it sort of justifies that, look, it's actually necessary, even though the policemen at the police units will not be armed, but at least maybe it's a little bit of a deterrent to some other people who might want to commit crime. The fact that, okay, maybe policemen are around, maybe it might just deter, a little bit down for us not to have at all. Not to have at all, or to have even lesser than what they are going to deploy to Anambra to create chaos. So it's better we have them and nothing happens. Fine. Rather than not have at all, then there is a trouble, in there. So I think it's fair enough. We have not developed our electoral process to the point where we can make use of machines, to serve as polling units, so that you just go to probably something like an ATM for want of a device now. Let's okay, we have an ATM for election. You just go to the ATM, slot in your voters ID card, the options of political parties pops up, then you click the one you want to vote and you click send. In the absence of that, I think we might just need to have them at least stand, have something that can deter a large number of people from committing crime.
All right, we'll take a break now, and when we return, of course, we talk solutions, sustainable solutions to these kinds of deployments for these kinds of exercises. Please stay with us. Is Hard Facts 92.3 Nigeria Info. Sam Chinedu. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has approved the deployment of 45,000 officers for the Anambra Governorship election billed for Saturday, November 8th, 2025. And I'm asking questions about how that affects national security by extension, thanks to the shortage of police officers we already have, even without the election. Mr. Olalekan is still on the phone. You're welcome once again, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right. So for Anambra, that is an off-cycle election. We understand that all the attention could be on Anambra because at this time they are the only ones running this exercise. But it also raises the question, how is the deployment of the police when we have general elections where majority of states are voting for different positions across? How do we balance it? Because if we can have 45,000 go to Anambra now, whenever the state also has the same exercise, how does the IG handle that?
Yeah, I'm sure you know that I think of the 36 states we have in Nigeria, I think about 6 states or so are off-cycle governorship election, and I want to try and remember them. I know that we have in Bayelsa, I know that we have in Imo, we have in Osun, we have in Ekiti, we have in Kogi. I'm trying to look at another. I think we have about 5 or 6 states or so that are off-cycle elections. So when we have general election, it obviously means that the Inspector General of Police will move policemen from these states I mentioned to beef up, probably in states that are nearby or even in far-flung states. But beyond that, is for us to begin to examine the way and manner we conduct election in Nigeria. Shall I say, fortunately for the new chairman of INEC, Amupito, this is a litmus test, even though he may come out later to say, look, I was just appointed and I didn't superintend over majority of the electoral process in Anambra. But this will be a litmus test for him. Let's see whether the beavers will work well this time. I hope INEC is making use of IREC in Anambra, because the more we make the electoral process transparent, probably the less tension we'll have in the long run. We must also reform the political parties, because there's no way we can get the election right in Nigeria without major restructuring of political parties. And without that, it's going to be difficult for democracy to also take a deep root in Nigeria. Are we going to find a way to ensure that political parties also make use of electronic voting so that the best of candidates can emerge from the political parties? Maybe that might reduce tension when all candidates present the best, the very best, those who have emerged through the process. Maybe there won't be a desperation to rig such candidates into office. These are conversations that INEC would seriously need to look at ahead of 2027 general elections.
Okay. Do we also need to find a way to harmonize the off-cycle states? Because if it continues like this, it just feels disruptive. And I know many of the states are in this position thanks to election petitions, court cases, and all of that. So should Nigeria be looking to ensure that Anambra and other states like it somehow get back into the official timetable so that governorship, presidential, and all elections are happening at the same time across the nation?
That cannot happen for now. Remember, the tenure of office for the governor of a state is 4 years. So how do you want to abridge it? Under which law are you going to abridge it to make sure that Ekiti, Osun, Bayelsa, Kogi, Imo come back to the normal election cycle, which is the general election? For now,
you don't have to abridge. You can extend. I mean, subtraction and addition can help you balance things, right?
No, but the constitution is clear. You are entitled to first term of 4 years. There cannot be extension. So to do this extension is that you come by way of amendment to the National Assembly and say, look, we want all elections consolidated and to be held at the same time. Can we allow these incumbents enjoy 2 extra years? You understand? Because you must amend the constitution to accommodate what you are suggesting now. Because the constitution is clear. You must spend 4 years in office.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you cannot appoint a caretaker administration in any state. Maybe, politicians have their way of doing things. Just maybe, we can beg the president maybe to declare state of emergencies in all these states at a particular point in time, so that we can,
Are you kidding me right now? Is that
so that we can use the opportunity of the state of emergency to merge whatever that we are looking for? And remember, the times are far apart. You understand? The state will be having its own election next year. Bayelsa won't have governorship election until 2028. So how do you bridge it? Because they are not close.
Okay, so state of emergency is now a developmental tool. Is that what?
One of the things you cannot take away from Nigerian politicians is that they are very brilliant and they know what to do at any point. That we're in this country where we have to activate the doctrine of necessity to enable Goodluck Jonathan become the substantive president of Nigeria at the time.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating for a state of emergency, but I'm only saying that as it is as of today, there is no way they can be amended. We must continue with this off-cycle election. It might just be one of the good things, about democracy in Nigeria, so that we don't have to conduct all elections at once. Just maybe.
Okay, now according to the global average police to citizen ratio, it's one police officer for every 450 people. There are some that round it off to 500. By that ratio, we are heavily underpoliced. And if you're rounding it off, it's 222 police officers per 100,000 people. Now, according to the official figures from, I believe, 2022, it was estimated that we have around 500,000 police officers. I'm certain it's more than that. But even if it's 1 million, serving over 200 million people, that is too much of a shortage. Now, Mr. Ige,
definitely,
we need solutions to these policing problems. And I know that election is the case study for this conversation. But on a general note, there has to be a way that we have more people joining the police force. Unfortunately, it is not as appealing to young people. Many young people don't want to be police officers. They don't want to be soldiers because of stories they've heard, because of things they know, what they've seen, family members who they know are officers. So what would be the solution to ensure that recruitment is better? Would state policing solve the problem?
No, see, state policing will not solve the problem. It can only reduce maybe the number of policemen we're looking for. One of the things the federal government of Nigeria will need to do is to provide more incentives for these security organizations, particularly the police. What kind of incentive are you going to provide for people to join the police? What kind of incentive are you going to provide for people to join the army? People are not afraid to join the army, no. One of the major reasons why a lot of people are not willing to join the armed forces and the police is because of the experiences of those who put their life at risk. What did they get out of the day? A sizable number of them are living in penury after serving this country for 30 years, 35 years, risking their lives so that we could sleep with our two eyes closed. Most of them are retired today. Remember the last time they had to protest in Abuja?
Yeah. Oh my.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Remember, not too long ago, you had some policemen protesting in Abuja over the amount of money they were getting as pension. So if you put yourself in their shoes, Chinedu, would you like to join police based on what those people did in Abuja? You can imagine that police or army or navy or air force wants to do verification. Then you have to travel all the way. Let's say you are traveling from Port Harcourt all the way to Abuja to go and do verification. How much are you going to be paid at the end of the month? 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. How much is the transport of going to and through Abuja by road? So it is not because Nigerians are afraid. No, the incentives to join these paramilitary organizations, what are the incentives? Are they available? We've had a conversation like this before when I said, look, can we find something for them? Can we say that, okay, children of those who are in the armed forces or in the police, if your breadwinner dies in the line of duty, can we guarantee them education to the highest level, maybe free or by scholarship of the federal government? Can we take them to primary, secondary, and university, at least to give them a fighting chance to be able to get something? What of accommodation? Can we provide housing accommodation? We must provide incentives that will ginger people to the nations. Without that, there's really nothing for you to ask a young Nigerian to come and join police for, or to come and join the army. What are you enticing them with?
Okay. Well, it seems we'll just have to wait and hope that those in power do the right things. And finally, for the INEC chairman, hello, Mr. Gay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm listening.
Okay. I thought there was a network issue. The Anambra election is very close.
I can hear you.
What would be the immediate things that he must do to ensure that this election is, of course, free and fair? But more importantly, try to impress Nigerians, because right now, the spotlight is on him with the very little time he has.
Yeah, fortunately for him, INEC had begun the preparations well in advance before he was sworn in as the chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission. We had the most recent example from the 2023 general elections. The only thing that failed Nigerians during the 2023 general election was the IREV, which INEC had promised that as soon as the election ends, it will be uploaded automatically to their IREV. I hope INEC will be able to solidify that in Anambra election. Put up the IREV, let the IREV work, so that as soon as election holds and ends, you upload immediately. I hope and pray INEC will be able to do that this time around, so that they can begin to awake ahead of 2027 general election. Ekiti state election is next year, so it means they already have Anambra now. They have Ekiti State next year. So they have two governorship elections almost back to back for them to be able to test run that IREV again, to make sure that it's able to work on a larger scale. That is the best thing they can do in Anambra. Let people vote, let their votes count, and let it be uploaded immediately to IREV so that people can verify their results almost immediately.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ige, for your time. It's always wonderful doing this with you. Have a beautiful day, sir.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you too have a beautiful day.
All right. So there you have it, the deployment of over 40,000 police officers to Anambra State for the election in that state. Fortunately, it's an off-cycle election, so they can afford to have all of those officers. But I'm asking questions about how, on a larger scale, this affects national security, because there obviously is a vacuum somewhere. Is heavy security the best way to ensure a peaceful election? And what do you make of these deployments and how they affect others? 0817-923-0002. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. All right, call back if you can, and hopefully when you do, you'll be ready to talk. The numbers are call 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp is 080-903-06-416. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube at Nigeria Info PH. You can watch, listen, and engage. Please turn off your radio as you call. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, Sam, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name?
My name is JJ from Port Harcourt.
All right, JJ, I apologize. You would have to call back. Something is not right with the line. I can hear that tone while you're speaking. Deploying the entire police force in Nigeria to Anambra will not guarantee free and fair election nor electoral violence in Anambra. The only thing that the police and other security agencies do during the election is to thwart the final outcome of the entire electoral process. Barry from GRA is on the phone. Hello, Barry.
All right, Sam, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I want to tell you the truth, my brother. When you hear police say they've deployed 40,000, 100,000, that is a lie. They only put that figure to collect their allowance. I am telling you the truth. They put those numbers to collect the allowances that create this deployment. The corruption in police is terrible. Take it from me, Barry.
I'm trying to take it from you, but I want to know you. Are you a police officer, Barry?
We've been there.
Okay.
We've been there. This corruption in police is terrible. Go and do health count in Anambra. You will never see 15,000 policemen. You will never. You will not even see 10. You will not even see 10,000 policemen. This is corruption at the highest level. My brother, you know what's called 40,000 police officers? It means every pole, from one pole to the other, you will see a policeman. So, see, the way they treat us in this country, they see everybody as a fool. We don't think, we just come and do what they do. In short, the corruption in this country is nothing can save us again. All hope is gone.
No, something can save us, Barry. Something. We can be saved. I refuse to believe.
There is nothing we can do again. Nothing. Not that the government, everybody don't know what is happening. It's free for all now. Survival for the fittest. All
right. Well, thank you very much, Barry. So Barry has literally opened another door. That's another angle. That deployment is false because of corruption. That's interesting. Let's see. 40,000 policemen. 45,000 actually. How many policemen? Now, the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Akwa Ibom, I believe, is 30,000. That's the capacity. So that means that if 45,000 are deployed to Anambra, the police officers will fill the Godswill Akpabio Stadium and also fill another small stadium because there will be 15,000 change. If you unleash those number of officers on a state, Anambra, for example, yes, you would visibly know that the police are in town. JJ, welcome back.
In addition to that, Sam, you also have the Yakubu Gowon Stadium, 15,000.
Okay.
You understand? That's 40 in Akwa Ibom. Is it 40 or 35?
30 in Akwa Ibom. 30 in Akwa Ibom.
The 15 in Yakubu Gowon. How about that?
Yeah.
Sam, let's assume that what they said is true, 45,000. Sometimes in 2015, when our brother, former President Goodluck Jonathan was campaigning, he was in somewhere around Ikoyi in Lagos, and there was serious robbery incident in Lekki area of Lagos. And at the end of the day, they succeeded robbing banks. How many banks? I think there were 7 or 10 banks in that Lekki area. And Fashola then, who was the governor, said that it was Jonathan that caused the robbery to be successful because most of the police who were supposed to be in those Lekki area were already deployed to the area of the campaign. Because you asked the question, what's the security implication, right?
Yeah.
So if you deploy policemen from Rivers, you deploy from, because all the neighboring states will be touched like that.
Yeah, they will take some.
More of the technical team, what they call tactical teams, will also be deployed and all those. So it means that if anything is happening in the state that they will deploy from, it becomes a very big issue. But Sam, let me ask you, in line with the last caller, when they told us, when they declared state of emergency in Rivers State here, first, this IG told us that he's deploying 25,000 policemen to Rivers State, remember?
Yes, I remember that.
And as if that is not enough, he also said he's deploying another 10,000. Where did you see any of them?
Well, you know,
Sam, did you see any police?
JJ, I just go from my house to the office and maybe church. You understand? It's possible.
The ones I managed to see,
it's possible.
At the time they were protesting and shooting when lawyers were running to the appeal court because their allowances were not paid. No provision was made for them. They were sleeping under the big truck that brought them in. Can you be that? In front of the state police headquarters. Can you be that? So, as far as I'm concerned, well, I know that the figure will not be enough. That is not get to that 45,000. But at the end of the day, there will still be protests that they didn't get their allowance. But will we ensure what they call credible election?
Free and fair election.
I may not guarantee because in Osun we saw what happened where even policemen were running with ballot box and all those put together. But what do I know? Question, please.
I have no question. Well, I'm just concerned, JJ, if And I'm thinking about this from a Nollywood perspective, right? I'm not even a radio presenter now. I just want to make a story out of this. If you did not have any crime situation in your neighborhood or your area on a normal day, and then Anambra election comes up, the police are supposed to be guarding you, now go to Anambra, and then that period, they now rob you people. It has to be your village people for it to happen conveniently around that time.
No. You know, these criminals tend to be 1-2 steps ahead of normal police and all those. That's why it takes police time to crack some criminal gang and all those put together.
Okay.
They will just calculate and say, okay, they are deploying some from Delta, they are deploying some from Bayelsa, they are deploying some this. Usually the tactical team, let's take advantage of this heavy wind that has blown, follow the plantain and put it on top of the wind.
Okay. Yeah, that could happen too. But thank you, JJ. All right. Can I squeeze in a call? Yes, indeed, I can. If they deploy this number of policemen to the northeast to chase bandits and Boko Haram, these terrorists will disappear in Nigeria. Thank God Ability Atuebu says. That's an angle. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, hi Sam, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name?
Yeah, I'm Mufasa on the line.
All right, Mufasa.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Well, I think this attitude of spending about half of the entire police strength for an election just for a day or so, for me, is not really yielding any positive results. You know, you could imagine the numerical strength of the entire Nigerian police force. Because any 40,000 police officers, just on Anambra elections alone, what will remaining to police the rest part of the country, you know. Another thing is, you know, it's not enough to begin to deploy police officers. What provision is the police authority making for their welfare? Because, like the last caller said, you know, sometimes you see police officers sleeping in their van.
Yeah.
You see them, you know, exposed to inhuman condition. I know they are police officers and they are prepared for the job, but then again, they are human beings. So
true.
If you don't treat them well and they begin to become vulnerable in the hands of these politicians, you know, relying on them for water, for food, and all of that, then, you know, they can easily compromise.
Yeah.
You know, so yes, if the police officer would rely on politicians who are interested party in the election for food, for water and allowances, you see them in polling booths where politicians come and say, police, we don't give them water, they don't give them food. Police will say, no, we never show up. So, what is the essence? So for me, what we need to do is to strengthen our electoral process. INEC need to be truly independent. The people need to be properly sensitized so that we don't need to militarize the election.
I agree.
We keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect to get a different result. Yeah, there's a description for that kind of activity. So that's my position, Dan.
What? Oh my. I didn't get that last part, but thank you, Mufasa, as always, for the nuggets. Good afternoon, Sam. No matter the presence of police officers, as many as they can, that cannot translate to having credible elections. If the election will be manipulated, the ruling class will do the unscrupulous things that will favor the ruling political party, Palibo Taylor Harry says on WhatsApp. Good evening, Sam. How many serving police officers do we have in Nigeria for us to deploy 45,000 to Anambra alone? I doubt the figure. Our police are too corrupt. Bernard from Port Harcourt says. The figures from 2022, I think, was the last time we checked, was around, was it up to 400 or 500,000? And the standard global ratio is one police officer to around 450 citizens. Truth alone can set us free, not number of police or another security agency. Fegable Cliff. I like how philosophical that sounds. And finally on WhatsApp, good evening, Sam. Heavy security cannot conduct free, fair and credible election. Anambra, ready for November 8th governorship election. Nigerians are fed up with all empty promises. Let the INEC chairman use the forthcoming Anambra election to convince Nigerians. Owanete Clinton West says. Well, we are out of time. The conversation ends now. The news update comes up at 5. Stay with us.